How could something as ordinary as a discarded memory card lead to the discovery of a brutal murder? What kind of person records the horrific crime and leaves behind such chilling evidence? Today, we're diving into a case that not only shocked the city of Anchorage, Alaska, but highlighted a crisis affecting Indigenous women across the United States. This is the tragic story of Kathleen Henry, a woman with her whole life ahead of her, and the disturbing events that led to her murder in 2019. The murder, captured in graphic detail, sent shockwaves through the community and raised unsettling questions about how such violent acts could be committed so brazenly. We will discuss who Kathleen was, the horrific crime committed against her, and the profound issues this case brought to life. Kathleen Jo Henry was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska, a small Indigenous community where everyone knows each other. She was a vibrant young woman, known for her creative spirit. Kathleen loved sharing her thoughts and poetry on social media, often reflecting on the challenges she faced. Although she had a tough life and dealt with the struggles like homelessness, Kathleen was resilient, finding ways to express herself and build a better future. She was open about her past and her desire to overcome life's hurdles. Her journey was not easy, but she shared inspiring messages online about courage and determination. Sadly, Kathleen's life was cut short in a brutal and deeply disturbing way. In September of 2019, Anchorage police were contacted by a woman who found a memory card on the street labeled homicide. She had discovered disturbing footage on this card, showing what appeared to be an assault on a woman in a hotel room. Horrified, she immediately handed the evidence over the police. What investigators saw was far worse than they could have imagined. The videos on the card documented the final moments of Kathleen Henry's life, captured on camera. Police quickly identified the man in the video as Brian Stephen Smith. He was originally from South Africa and had been living in Anchorage, Alaska for several years at the time of his arrest. Smith, a seemingly ordinary man in his 40s, worked as a travel agent and was married to an Alaskan woman. To those who knew him casually, he appeared unremarkable, blending into the backdrop of daily life in a bustling northern city. But beneath the surface, Smith harbored a darkness that would be revealed in the most shocking way. Smith had no significant criminal record in the US, but as investigators would soon discover, he had the capacity of unimaginable violence. Smith had already been on their radar from previous investigations. The footage captured in excruciating detail depicted a man, later identified as Brian Stephen Smith, beating and strangling a naked woman inside a hotel room. In the recordings, the man could be heard speaking in a distinctive South American accent, verbally abusing the victim as she begged for her life. The brutality of the crime was clear, and the videos showed Smith's deliberate and cruel actions as he killed the woman. Based on the evidence from the memory card and Smith's South African accent, authorities were able to identify him as the perpetrator. They arrested him just days after the card's discovery and charged him with first-degree murder, as investigators uncovered more evidence linking him to the crime. In addition to the footage found on the memory card, police obtained surveillance footage from the hotel where the murder took place, showing Smith entering the room with Kathleen Henry. Cell phone records and other digital evidence further corroborated the timeline of the event. Just a few days after his arrest, police made another disturbing discovery. Kathleen Henry's body was found on the outskirts of Anchorage along a local highway, confirming that Smith had disposed of her remains after the murder. The body was in a state of decomposition, but forensic evidence confirmed that Kathleen had died from the violent assault recorded on that memory card. As investigators continued to dig into Smith's background, they began to suspect that this was not the first time he had committed such heinous act. His calm demeanor in the video, as well as the methodical way he carried out the murder, suggested that he may have done this before. Under questioning, he made another chilling confession. He admitted to killing another woman, Veronica Abwachok, an Indigenous woman who had been missing since 2018. This added another layer of horror to the case and fueled the outrage of the Indigenous community in Alaska. Indigenous women, like Kathleen and Veronica, experience violence at rates significantly higher than the general population, often with minimal resources to help in protecting them. This case drew attention to the broader issues that Indigenous women were facing, particularly in Alaska, where many communities are isolated and lack resources. The Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, or MMIW movement, has been fighting to bring awareness to the crisis, advocating for better support and resources to protect Indigenous women from violence. Kathleen and Veronica's story became a painful reminder of how often their community is overlooked. Evidence against Smith was overwhelming. DNA tests linked him to both murders. Investigators uncovered even more images and videos from his phone, leading to additional charges. Prosecutors sought a severe sentence to ensure he could never harm another person. In 2024, Brian Smith was sentenced to 226 years in prison, marking one of the harshest sentences in recent Alaskan history. During sentencing, the court heard from Kathleen Henry's family. They spoke about the profound pain and loss they experienced as a result of her murder. They described Kathleen as a loving, vulnerable woman who had struggled with difficulties, but deserved far better than the brutal end she faced at the hands of Brian Stephen Smith. Smith's case underscored the disturbing trend of perpetrators recording their crimes. It serves as trophies or for personal gratification. The discovery of the memory card, with its chilling label, raised questions about how long Smith had been engaging in such violent behavior and whether other victims might still be out there. The court's decision was a small comfort to Kathleen's family and the Indigenous community, but it's a reminder of how urgently change is needed. The case brought to light critical questions. How can Indigenous women be better protected? And what can be done to ensure justice for those who have already suffered? As Kathleen's story reached a national audience, it helped raise awareness about the risk Indigenous women face advocates for the MMIW movement hope her story will lead to concrete changes in the justice system and more resources for vulnerable communities in Alaska and beyond. Kathleen Henry's life was tragically cut short, but her story has become a part of a larger fight for justice and protection. Her memory now lives on, not only with her family, but as part of a growing call to action that continues across the country. Thank you for joining me on this journey through another case. Remember, these stories we cover aren't just tales of mystery, they are real lives impacted by tragedy. If you found this case insightful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime. Stay safe, stay aware, and remember, sometimes the darkest places can be closer than we think. Until next time.